So this is the second part of my series about women, and this is called How to Be Interesting to Women. And it originated from a comment in the comment section of one of my posts. I forget which ones, and it doesn't matter, so don't go looking for it. This kid, the way he wrote his post, his comment, he seemed like a nice young man. He seemed like a nice young man, and he wrote a comment, and the comment made me want to both just like hug him and bitch slap him, you know? Hug him like, you know, you poor guy, and bitch slap him out of affection. Out of affection, mind you. Bitch slap him because he was doing it wrong, right? He was saying how he would go out on dates with these women, and consistently what would happen was that he would talk to them about interesting things, and then he'd run out of interesting things to say, and then the date would sort of like deflate and die, and he'd only have the one date with these girls, right? Oh God, it was just, I mean, like I said, I wanted to hug him and slap him, you know, but both emotions were out of affection. Making a woman interested in you is essential. It's the first step. If she's not interested in you, it ain't gonna happen, right? I don't think that this needs to be explained, or I don't need to grind on about it, but you have to keep it in mind. If she is not interested in you, she is not going to want to be with you. Therefore, it is your task, your mission, should you choose to accept it, to make the woman interested in you, right? Right. Now, the problem is, especially in this day and age, where people say that men and women are the same, and, you know, equality, rah-rah, and tabula rasa, and all this other SJW bullshit, this lefty bullshit, that men and women are the same. Well, men and women are not the same. Get that out of your head. The fact that people have been convinced into thinking that men and women are the same is the source of the problem here. Because you see, men find things interesting. Men are interested in interesting things. But women are interested in emotions. Specifically, they are interested in their own emotions. How a person or a situation or a thing makes them feel. You see the difference? You see, a guy, and most of my audience are guys, I mean, like, at least the metrics say that 95% of my audience is guys, which is unsurprising, right? Guys, you know, if I were to talk to you, and you're a guy, well, what are you going to talk to me about? I mean, you'd probably tell me about some story, something that you read. You'll probably tell me about how you read about some car that is fueled by, I don't know, like ice cream. You tell me about a car that's fueled by ice cream, and you can talk to me for 3 hours about that. I'll be fucking fascinated, you know? I'll find it really fucking fascinating, really fucking interesting, and I'll want to know all about the car fueled by ice cream, you know? I'll be interested in shit like, is it sherbet or just, you know, regular ice cream? Vanilla, strawberry, chocolate, which gives better gas mileage, you know? I'll be interested in that shit, right? A girl, she's not going to be interested in that. She's going to be interested in feelings, in her own feelings. Now, the scientific proof of this has just been done to death. I think his name is Simon Baron-Cohen. He's the cousin of the comedian Sacha Baron Cohen. Now, this Simon Baron-Cohen is like a big brain in the UK, and he did experiments, he and his team did experiments on newborn children, day-old babies, okay? The day-old boys were consistently interested in things, in moving things. And the day-old girls were consistently interested in faces. That tells you all you need to know. The sexes are different, their interests are different. Now you're a young man, you think that you're going to be successful with a girl because you talk about interesting things. No, you're going to fail. You're going to fail miserably because girls aren't interested in interesting things. They're interested in emotions, their emotions, the emotions that you make her feel. You see where I'm going here? You see more or less where this conversation is headed, right? So in order to make the girl interested in you, which is what you want, You have to provide her with emotions. You have to be her supplier of emotions. You have to be a consistent supplier of positive emotions that she will want to come back to. You see what I'm saying? Now, in the previous post, I told you how when I was young, when I was a teenager, I was just lousy with girls. I just didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was a disaster, right? Until I was 18. Until, by chance, I discovered that if I was funny, girls liked me. Now, let me go a little bit into detail. See, at the time, I was 18, and I was the height I am now. I'm 6 feet, and I was a fairly large guy. I was a fairly large guy, and therefore a little bit intimidating. The other thing I had going for me, or going against me, was that I was noticeably smart. I mean, just very educated. I read a lot, and I was just really smart, and sometimes my conversation was a little too elevated because I was interested in, you know, all sorts of weird shit, right? I mean, I was like reading James Joyce when I was 16, 17, and I wanted to talk about that. And so it scared girls. It intimidated them. My size and my conversation intimidated girls, and so they didn't want to be around me. And so I was a failure with girls, right? Until I was 18, like I told you. I turned 18, and I discovered by happenstance, as I told you in the other video, you can find it right here, that I made some girls laugh. And then I set my mind to making them laugh consistently because I realized that making them laugh was how I would get girls. At the time, I didn't quite understand the mechanics or the reasoning behind it. Now, of course, I do. Okay, it's been 32 years since I discovered this. It took me 15 years to perfect my technique, if you will, okay, of how to get girls. And what I was doing at the time, which I didn't realize, but I realize now, was that I was providing an exceptionally powerful and positive emotion to girls. I was making them laugh. And everybody likes to laugh. It's fun to laugh. You feel good about yourself when you're laughing. And so you want to be around the guy who's making you laugh, right? Now, my approach was self-deprecation. What I'd do is I'd make fun of myself. And that would make me less intimidating, okay? As I made myself less intimidating because I was making fun about myself, right? I made girls feel positive and also something else. I made them feel very confident in me, and therefore my own confidence rose. You see? Because by making them laugh, they wanted to be around me. They would call me up and tell me, you know, invite me to the parties or whatever was going on, because I would show up and make them laugh. You know, I mean, I got to a point where I actually had like bits written out of things that I would say to make them laugh, right? And so I'd provide them with this positive emotion, and therefore they wanted to be with me. And because they wanted to be with me, I felt more confident. And this confidence was something that they wanted to latch on to. It took me several years, actually a couple of decades, I guess, but I finally understood the interplay of emotions that's going on here. You see, the girl wants to feel the positive emotion, but at the same time, she wants to feel confidence in the man who is providing that confident emotion. And it made me understand two things: motorcycles and horror movies. Well, let me explain. I've had motorcycles, right? What happens when you have a motorcycle and a girl? Well, you get girls all the time if you have a motorcycle, right? You're riding the motorcycle, and it's exciting. You're going fast, right? You're going fast, the wind is blowing your hair, all the rest of it, right? And the girl, she's right behind you, right? And right behind you, she's holding on for dear life. What are you providing her when you're riding around in a motorcycle? One, excitement, because it's exciting to go on a motorcycle. And two, safety and security. She's holding on to you for dear life. And you, of course, are not letting go of the motorcycle. You're not crashing, right? So you are providing her this sense of safety and security. Excitement and safety and security. And she just laps it up. What happens when you go to a horror movie with a chick, right? You go to see some horror movie, whatever the fuck the horror movie is, right? You're watching, I don't know, Final Destination 5 or whatever the fuck it is right now, right? You're watching the horror movie, and what is she doing? You're staring at the screen, And she is grabbing your arm, her nails digging into the flesh of your upper arm, her face like smushed into your armpit and sporadically looking at the screen, terrified, or quote unquote terrified, not actually, it's just a movie, right? What are you providing her? You are providing her with the strong adrenaline rush of the horror movie and providing her with safety and security of your arm. You see how it is? You see how it works? That's what you're doing. That's what she wants. The safety and security of your presence and the strong positive emotion that you are providing. Now you say to me that a horror movie is a negative emotion because it's scary. It's the adrenaline rush, okay? Because a horror movie is not real. It's not a real horror. It's just make-believe, and everybody knows that, okay? But during the 2 hours of the movie, that adrenaline rush that she's feeling, she feels good about it. That's why people go and see horror movies. If they didn't have that powerful rush of adrenaline, and they liked that powerful rush of adrenaline, horror movies would not be a genre. Nobody would go to see any. You see what I mean? Yeah, of course. So you're providing, by taking her to a horror movie, you're providing her with the powerful emotion and the safety and security of your arm. You're riding around on a motorcycle and you're providing the excitement of going on a motorcycle and the safety and security of holding on to your waist for dear life. You see? You see how it is? And in these situations, you don't have to say a fucking thing. See? You don't have to tell her interesting things, as the young commenter had tried to do and failed. You know, he tried to interest her in things. Women are not interested in things, they're interested in emotions. You provide them with the positive emotion of safety and security that you provide, and you provide them with that powerful adrenaline rush of riding a motorcycle or a horror movie or whatever, you got it made. You see? That's how it works. Now, the next post that I'm going to be doing is about the first date, but I'll give you a little preview here, because see, the first date, or the first time you go out with a woman, however you want to call it, first date or hooking up or hanging out, whatever the fuck, right? Whatever the fuck you kids are calling it nowadays, right? See, that first date is a tryout. It's a tryout to see if you come across, basically, you as a guy. You provide the woman with what she's looking for. Are you going to provide her with what she's looking for or not? That's the question at play in a first date. Now, our young friend, the one I described at the beginning of this post, he clearly failed because he was trying to interest the woman in things and not in emotions. Now, if he were to succeed, and what I would tell him, and I'm telling you now, is you want to provide and have a plan to provide that positive emotion. Now, I've talked about horror movies, and I've talked about, riding around in a motorcycle, right? Or being funny, as the case that I was doing, right? But there are other emotions, powerful emotions, you see? Very powerful emotions that on a first date would be like just perfect, just spot on, right? An example, take a girl to a museum. Yeah, you're a student, museums are free, right? You take her to a museum, especially when the pieces are really good, really strong pieces, right? And you'd be surprised what an impact that will have, you see? But here's the key issue. See, when you go to a museum, right, and I'm picking the museum example for a specific reason, then you'll understand. See, when you talk to the woman about the pieces that you're both experiencing, you're both going to be experiencing an aesthetic emotion, right? Okay, so you don't talk to her about the history of the piece, or the name of the painter, or any shit like that. That's not what she's interested in. You know what she's interested in? She's interested in sharing the emotion that is elicited in the piece. For instance, you go to the Louvre, right, and you see, I don't know, the Mona Lisa, you know, the most cliched painting ever, but whatever. You both contemplate the Mona Lisa. And she's not going to want to hear about Leonardo da Vinci. She's not going to want to hear about, you know, the paintings he did and the school he was in and how the Medicis paid for his paintings. She doesn't care about that. You know what she's going to care about? She's going to be caring about you telling her, I wonder what she was feeling, the Mona Lisa, was feeling at the moment that she was being painted. You know, that smile, what is she feeling at that moment? Because girls want feelings, see? And do you know why? Because girls fundamentally believe, irrational though it may be, they feel that the emotions that they are perceiving are unique, and that the uniqueness of their feelings makes them feel alone. That, of course, you think about it, it's a little bit irrational, right? Well, it's not a little bit irrational, it's a lot irrational. But that's what women feel. They feel that the emotions that they are perceiving are unique to them, and no other person on the face of the earth feels those emotions, especially loneliness. And because of these emotions, they are alone. And they don't want to feel alone. See? That's why they want to be with a guy. They want to be with a guy who feels the emotions that they feel and provides shelter from these emotions, safety and security from these emotions. You see? That's the secret of women. Now, if you can provide this, if you can provide for them this feeling that, number one, you feel and understand the emotions that they are feeling, and number two, you can provide them with a shelter, a sense of security and safety while in the grips of these emotions, you got it made. That's how you get a woman to be interested in you.